Hey guys, Will and the Just Add Water crew is out here for our first pond clean out of the year. Want to walk you through our process and how we do everything so you can see what it's like when you hire us, or you can attempt to do it yourself. So first thing we do is we bring everything back. We'll warn you it's going to look like we're moving in. We have some tubs we bring. We have lots of hoses running everywhere, pumps, all that kind of stuff. So we'll do a walkthrough on the equipment list and then our process. So the equipment list that we have for our pond cleanouts, we start with our tubs. All of our crews can store a minimum of 1,500 gallons. Both of these tubs are 750 gallons a piece. So we store water, we store your fish in there, all of that kind of stuff. We have an aerator with us for your fish. We have a power washer. We have multiple trash pumps that they are great for sucking up all that sludge and debris. We've got garden hoses. We've got our hoses for our pumps. We have our water treatments. We have buckets. Buckets are a pretty key thing here. We have anything on the truck or van that we need to set you up for success, whether it be if you have filter pads that need replaced, we have filter pads. We have, lights, we have transformers, we have all of that stuff ready. So if this is the only time of year we get to see you, you are going to be set up after the service. We love to do these cleanouts when the customer's home. Obviously that doesn't always work, but we love to hang out with you guys. We love coming back, seeing these features, anything that you've changed, anything like that. But this is a great opportunity for you to be able to ask questions as far as why, or if you want to make any changes, like add lights, do all that kind of stuff. It's much easier to do it now when the pond is empty, or auto dosers, anything like that where we want to add on to make your life easier or your pond prettier, better, anything like that. We love when you're there so you can ask those questions. We like to think we're all pretty friendly. I don't know if Clay is, but Clay bites. Step one of our cleanout process is we do an inspection of the feature. So we're kind of spoiled here. This feature's been running all year. The first thing we do is we get our pump from you guys, we hook it up, and then we're gonna run it as we're unloading everything, get that moving, and really we're looking for making sure liner hasn't settled, leaks, anything like that. Everything we always do is check water level. So places we're gonna look on your feature if it hasn't been running is that skimmer attachment. Occasionally those need replaced, every 5 to 10 years. Our number one goal for a clean out is to make sure that you guys are set up to have a successful season. Once we do our inspection, then we will start draining water from the pond into our tubs. If you have fish, we have extra tubs. We're gonna move those fish from your pond into one of our tubs that has that pond water. It reduces the amount of stress and it helps with the acclimation process as we're putting them back in and refilling that pond up. Once the pond is empty, we'll start picking up our debris, leaves, sticks, all of that kind of stuff. Anything that's kind of blown in there since last time we were here, the fall, really anything that's accumulated in the bottom, we're gonna get all of that out. Once we've picked up all that debris, we fire up the power washer. We start power washing, breaking all that stuff off the rocks, all of that. The next step is our flush. This is potentially one of the most important steps that we do. Now that we've broken up everything off the rocks and moved gravel around so everything's loose, we then flush everything down into our pumps and pump that out of the system. So we kind of flush, we call it a power flush. We use our trash pumps that have a higher flow rate to move like the heavy bulk of all your sludge and everything. We want to get that out of the system so your system doesn't not become anaerobic. A little bit of sludge is great, that's what we want, but we don't want there to be too much. That's when you're going to have heavy maintenance problems. One of the common questions we get, especially this time of year, late February, early March, is I'm already getting string algae. Is that normal? That's 100% normal. This feature has some of it. It's kind of that fuzzy algae on the rocks. That's actually really good. It's a good indication that your system's healthy. That happens right after we do a clean out or before we even do the clean out, because algae is such a simple organism that it grows before your pond is awake. What I mean by awake is your pond is dictated off of water temperatures. So until water temperatures are normally above about 55 to 60 degrees, those bacteria and everything that we treat later on, or that we add to your pond, they aren't super effective until we do that. So even if air temperatures are fluctuating and everything like that, your water temperatures tend to maintain better. So that's why we get algae at weird times early or really late in the year, things like that. So when we power wash, we're not trying to get 100% of the green off. Once we get the bulk of everything off, your rocks are probably still going to have like a green tint to them. That is called biofilm, and that's really healthy. We do not want to remove all of that. So this is what we were talking about when I mentioned the green versus clean and that biofilm. So this portion of the pond here has already been power washed. You can even tell just on this singular rock where we've got all this fuzzy. The power wash is doing a pretty decent job at taking a lot of it off. But then from like here over, you know, some of this, the power washer is just physically not going to take off. We don't use a super strong one. We don't want to damage line or anything like that, but we're just going for bulk. So even this stuff that gets left on here, that's perfect. You know, this here, this is that biofilm, that green. I'm not trying to get it any cleaner than that. So the only times you should see like super clean rocks are like these ones up here at the top shelf that aren't completely submerged. So that's kind of what we're going for, what I don't want to see. And that goes back to that pond ecology and that pond health. That's really good for your pond, especially this time of year as it's starting over. We don't want your pond to start over from zero. So we want it to be established and take off as fast as possible. So you have that longer, you know, I won't say growing season, but pond season of health. Once the pond is empty and clean and everything, we will reset rock work. You know, like this pond, for example, it's got some decent sized fish in there. The fish move gravel around. So the bottom of the pond probably has more gravel than other places. So we're going to move all of that. If any rocks have shifted or moved or anything like that, we're going to rebuild stonework as well. One thing we're looking for when we're doing this clean out is we're going to be checking not just your pond health, but also your plant health. So here we've got lots of lilies. We've got a grouping over here. I just pulled these ones out where it was a standing. We kind of got them everywhere. So one thing that we're looking for, a conversation we like to have is, you know, how did they do last year? How big are your pads? They should be about the size of dinner plates, at least. As they get smaller, you know, they can go down to like a 50-cent piece. That basically just means they're getting root bound. We do not plant anything in pots. We like to go bare root into the gravel. It limits the amount that we have to divide, and they actually get more nutrients by spreading throughout the pond, so they're healthier. So if your pads are small or you're not getting lots of blooms, those are good indications of it's time to divide. Or honestly, if they're just taking over your pond, we can remove that. So what we're doing here is we have all of this. You know, we took this pile out from here. We still have a chunk here in the gravel, and we still have this good tuber back in there. But we just cleared open all of this. We got this cool log with this structure in here that the fish love to play in. So we're going to kind of open that up a little bit. We have that light in there. It looks awesome at night. So we're going to move this. We can divide it. So if we clean this off, you get this yummy tuber there. So you can see that's still hard. It's still white. It's still great. So like I could move this and plant it somewhere else in the pond. I like to do, you know, about this big. You can do even smaller if you want. Still got your roots, and so you can move those all over the place. Once everything inside the pond is rebuilt, we will start moving your fish tub water back into the pond, and then that should give us enough water for your fish so we can get them back in there. And then depending on the water situation, if it's nice clean water and we haven't disrupted it and we were able to store a lot of it, we put that back in the pond. So we do that for two reasons. Going back to that ecosystem that I was talking about, you know, that's healthy water, it's already established, that kind of thing. But then also, again, it's much better for your fish to go back in there. It's really based on water temp for what we have stored and then how much we have to put back in. So we won't move your fish in there until we've gotten that body of water to be pretty much the same temp. And that, again, reduces stress on your fish. So these are all of our water treatments we use on every clean out. So we use a sludge and filter cleaner. We use a cold water beneficial bacteria. That has to do with water temperature. So that's why we go with this liquid form. It's better for, shocker, cold water. And then this is that detox. This takes all the harmful stuff out of your tap water and makes it fish safe. It also has the ammonia in there, so if you run across that, it's already in there. And this is your pump cleaner that we use on all of your pumps in the system. We use this once a year plant fertilizer for your lilies and any marginals that you have in your system. Then over here, these are your autodoser specific treatments. So if you have a doser, we have these available. You can get them through us. These are the ones that we're going to put into the pond right after our clean out. So we're all done. The process is complete. Now all we have to do is kind of wait a few hours for it to settle out. By the time the homeowner gets home, they'll probably have a crystal clear, beautiful pond that will be set up to have a wonderful season.